Good morning, everyone, and welcome. We're thrilled to have you with us today, and we promise this will be a very insightful and impactful session that we have for you today. I am Christy Wilbert, Senior Vice President of the Medicare Offerings Department here at URL Insurance Group. And today's webinar is brought to you by Medicare Express Leads. So they're a trusted name in helping agents and agencies connect with high quality, real-time Medicare leads. And our leading our session today is going to be Gary Gore. Now, Gary is not only seasoned in the Medicare space, but he's also very passionate, big advocate for helping agents and agencies grow, make their business smarter, more efficient with lead strategies. So he brings years of experience and deep understanding of what works in today's market. You're going to get a wealth of knowledge from him today and things that you're going to be able to apply immediately to grow your business. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Even if you're a Medicare seasoned pro or you're just getting started in the business, I think everybody is going to find a lot of value in today's webinar. You're going to see some pretty cool and new things that you have at your fingertips. Before we dive in, I do just want to go over some housekeeping items. This webinar is going to be recorded today. You'll be able to find it in our webinar archive under our website, along with all the other trainings and webinars that we've done so far. You want to go ahead and click that blue chat box on the bottom right of your screen so that you can chat with us live today. Also, there's a Q&A section. We'll go through those at the end, but as you think about them, go ahead and put them in there. Without further ado, I'll introduce Gary. You can take over, sir. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much, Christy. Thanks for having us. My name is Gary Gore. I'm the Vice President of Sales here at Medicare Express. And as Christy mentioned, I come with you with a lot of experience. I've been in the space now for 20 plus years. Started out with Humana as a sales agent, then a career manager with them. And then I did have a little bit of value-based care, doctor recruiting underneath my belt, along with some regional manager and experience with a FMO like yours and recruiting agents and agencies under that FMO as well. That's how I found Medicare Express, actually, is when working with one of your competitor FMOs. In my opinion, there's three things that an FMO at least should offer their downlines, right? One of them is training, kind of what you're getting today, whether it be marketing training, lead training, value-based care, how to generate leads out in the community. All that is a big part of what a FMO should bring to you. Also, lead gen is another big one I'm here to talk to you about today. Then technology, what kind of CRMs and what kind of technology that you can help bring to the table to make my team more successful. So I'm here to talk to you about lead gen because especially if you guys and gals have been on the phone here that have been in business for years and years and years, you understand that as an agent, you need people to talk to be successful, right? And in our business, especially if you're new, when you don't have any relationships in the community, you don't have a book of business to get referrals, most agents are out there buying leads, right? And I always like to say, Medicare Express, we're not in the leads business. I don't sell leads. What we do here is we sell meetings. We sell high intent, high quality, pre-screened meetings, and we set them up into your calendar, and I'll explain how all that works. But going back, to my FMO years, we noticed back in 2020, actually it started in 2019, but back in 2020, the return rates on direct mail, which everybody was using back then, was falling off a cliff. The last couple of years that we were buying direct mail, I saw less than 0.5% return in a lot of the big states that we competed in, Florida, Texas, Georgia. And so what we did, literally, myself and the other leadership group of the Medicare division, we started interviewing lead companies. Primarily, we were interviewing those in the Facebook arena because that's where people were shifting. Instead of from direct mail, they were shifting more towards over the internet type leads, Facebook, whatnot. And so when we were interviewing people, what we found is a lot of people were very similar. They have a platform, they advertise on the internet, and then they sell you leads. Well, what do you guys got to do when you get leads, or where you buy direct mail? You buy a lead, you have a list of names and phone numbers, and you start dialing, okay? And you hope and pray that out of those 50 leads that you might have just purchased, that you're able to speak to 20. Out of those 20, you're hoping to book 10. Out of those 10 meetings, you're hoping 5 show up and you make 3 or 4 sales. You make a little bit of money and you start that madness all over again, right? It's very frustrating, very time consuming. So how can Medicare Express help you? Well, that's what that's how we can help you. Our solution is simplicity. We take care of all that back end work, that time consuming, frustrating phone calls, getting hung up on, people not answering, and spending money as it seems to just get 2 or 3 sales, right? So we try to make it as simple as we possibly can for the agent. We take all that back end work out of the way for you. Here's our 3 verticals. 100 Insure is basically my call center. Our call centers are all here in the United States. We're here in St. Pete, Florida, in Pinellas County. That's where most of our call centers are. So the 100 Insure is actually our call center, product. Medicare Express is our retail lead and meetings business. And then our Wealth Express is something brand new that we've just started. For those of you that dabble in annuities and IULs and other wealth products, we have something coming that we may be able to talk to you here in the near future. So, all right. So what we do, again, is we deliver high quality, high intent Medicare meetings directly into your calendar. We link calendars with you. I'll explain how all that works here in a few minutes. And then the beauty of the program is based on the availability that you as an agent give us, we book meetings right into your calendar. We have 2 types of verticals. We're going to talk about our in-person meetings, and then we're going to talk about our instant meetings, which are live transfers to your cell phone, or actually right to your computer. But we'll explain, it's going to go to your cell phone as well here soon. So what we do is we increase conversions because we qualify the appointment to the best of our ability, and I'll explain how all that works. We can scale with you, as far as technology and things of that nature. And then what we try to do here is we try to create long-lasting relationships with our agents and our FMO partners. So what do? Well, we advertise on all sorts of social media. We have our own owned and operated sites that we also generate leads. So when leads come into our system, just to give you an idea, of every 100 leads that come through our system, we kick out about 92 of them. So we go through a qualification process. It goes through 2 different departments. And we ask a series of different questions. We ask, a consumer if they have Medicare A and B. We find out, first of all, let me back up. We also scope the appointment for you. So right off the bat, we have a voice recorded scope. So you don't have to worry about getting that. We find out what carrier they're on. We verify Medicare A and B. We verify Medicaid to the best of our ability. So what I mean by that is we don't have access to Marks or any of the other carrier verification systems that many of you have access to that can verify Medicare right over the computer. None of my agents in the call center are licensed, so we don't have access to that. So we have to ask 2nd and 3rd level questions. Mr. Consumer, do you have Medicare A and B? Yes. The red, white, and blue card? Yes. Do you know where the red, white, and blue card is? Yes. And similar questions to Medicaid. And then lastly, we find out what are the reasons why they're out on, looking and having questions about Medicare. What are those questions? We put all those questions, they go through a little quiz. We actually put that little quiz, the questions that we ask initially from the consumer, we put that in your portal as well. So you'll have not only the scope, but you'll also have the answers, to the quiz that the consumer answered. And so you'll have a basic understanding of what they're looking for, whether it's more of a food card, or they're just not happy with their current plan, or they looking for a dental program, are they aging in, whatever the case may be. We put all that information in the portal for you. And by the way, if there's questions that come up as we move forward, you can just obviously dump them into the chat, and I'll have Jennifer and Chris look over those. So again, what I always like to talk about is this system and this program that we've come out with is great for all levels of agents, right? So if you're brand new, this is a great program for you, because as I mentioned earlier, you don't have any community-based relationships. You don't have a book of business that you're getting referrals from. And so that takes a little bit of time to get, your book built up. And so that's what we're here to help you. So if you're a brand new agent, because there's three things, folks, that determine volume for us. One is marketing. How's my marketing doing in your state, your county, your area? The factor is, how many other agents do I have on my program in your market currently? And then third is, how much time does the agent give me in his or her calendar to book meetings? So again, that inexperienced brand new agent, they should probably give me 40 or 50 hours a week for because they don't have referrals coming in. So their calendar's probably pretty wide open. That, second, third, fourth year agent that's got 200, 300, 400 people in their book, they're just now starting to get some referrals from their book. They're developing some community-based relationships, getting some referrals there. They may give me 30 or 35 hours a week, right? And then that seasoned agent that really hasn't bought leads in a while, or really doesn't need a lot of help. They're getting a ton of referrals, but they just need some gap fillers here and there. They might want to give me 10, 15, 20 hours a week, just to give them a meeting or two during the week. We have the ability to drill down not only to state, county, but by zip code as well. And so what we do is we try to work with each individual agent, look at basically the county that they run in most, and we drill down the zip codes that are giving us the best opportunity, or giving you, the agent, the best opportunity for meetings at this time. I highly encourage, if any of you do join up to our program, is to make sure you keep in touch with your account manager, whoever that's assigned to you, because that account manager can run zip code reports for you to make sure that the zip codes that you've selected this month are still the hot ones for the next month, because marketing changes from month to month. And so again, developing a relationship with your account manager is paramount in our program. And so so I have the in-person meetings. Okay. So those, again, depending on, how much time you have in your calendar, you book those. When we book a meeting for you, we send you a text. That's how you'll know that you've had a meeting booked for you into your calendar. We'll send you a text along with to you and to the consumer, introducing you to. Okay. We highly encourage, once you get that text and you know that you have a meeting coming up, we highly encourage you to do what you can to reach out and start that engagement process with that consumer. What I recommend is that you take a picture of your business card and you text it to that consumer's cell phone. You'll have a communication area in our portal that you can communicate back and forth with the consumer and with us here at Medicare Express. But I would send that card directly to the consumer cell phone, saying something like, hello, Joe, this is Gary Gore. I look forward to seeing you Thursday at 1 o'clock. Here's a picture of my business card. Do me a big favor, lock my number into your phone. I'm going to call you Wednesday just to say hello and introduce myself to you. And not everybody's going to respond back, say, okay, great, I've got you locked in. I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. But if you can get 2 or 3 or 4 of those people out of 10 to do that, it almost solidifies that sale. You start that engagement process. Sometimes, that process will, because when you send that business card, 2 things happen. One is you legitimize yourself as an agent, right? Many of you have your picture and your license number on your business card now. So when that consumer gets that business card, they're like, oh, wow, I do have a meeting Thursday at 1 o'clock. And with a real agent, and they're going to call me on Wednesday before. So if that consumer had any inclination that they really didn't want the meeting, or they yesed us off the phone just to get off the phone, or they forgot about the meeting, if they didn't want that meeting, they're going to call us and say, hey, they're going to try to cancel that meeting. A canceled meeting is a non-billable meeting. And so just keep that in mind. That's just a little tip that I like to give, a little nugget to the agents who are that come on the program. The ones that do engage with consumers prior to going out to meet them seem to have higher closing percentages, as those that do not. The other thing that I recommend is folks and agents on this program have to be very good calendar managers. And not only your business appointments need to be in your calendar, but personal stuff. Like if you have a doctor's appointment, if you got to pick the kids up from school every day from 2 to 3, or you got a vet appointment for your dog or cat, all that stuff's got to be in there, because those are appointments you really can't get out of, or at least don't want to have to change if you don't have to. And so again, we can't see who you're with, where you're at, or anything in your calendar. All we see is blacked out areas, knowing we can't book a meeting at that time on that date. And so by having all your appointments in your calendar helps us and helps the consumer experience out as well. Because again, the last thing you want to try, prevent is having to call a consumer and reschedule because we booked on top of something that you can't get out of. Now, things happen, right? And sometimes you have to reschedule, but we try to do our best not to let that happen. So we have our in-person vertical, and we also have our instant and vertical. And so I'm going to pause here for a second and turn it over to Jen to start with. And should I go on mute then, Jen? Or do you want to? Okay, I'll go on mute.
Either way. I mean.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, hi guys. My name's Jennifer. Jen or Jennifer is fine. I don't know if I'll end up being assigned as your team lead as far as an account manager view, but I'm definitely well versed, and so is Chris that's coming after me and answering any of the questions that you might have. I'm actually going to take on the in-person section of trying to review the portal with you all. Definitely in the chat, or raising your hand if there's questions. Naturally, we expect those. Just alert us of those so we can answer them as we go. Otherwise, I'm just going to drive slowly through what the in-person portal looks like. So just bear with me and I'll share my screen. So right now, as you're seeing, what I'm using is another agent in with one of the different marketer, FMO, etc. that we work with. This view is seen by all agents upon logging in. What you're not seeing previous to this is there is a screen that asks for your cell phone. What happens is you enter your cell phone and it generates a 7-digit code that would go to the cell phone that you'd have to punch in order to get to this stage. There is a sign-up process. It would be a unique link created for your team only. That will be issued by your account manager once they're assigned, and that type of instruction can come right from them. Our sign-up process is approximately only 3 minutes in length. It asks everything from your NPN to name, phone number, email. It asks you to select your zip codes, which can be updated at any time from our support team, and a few items like what car you drive, etc., because we do like to provide that to the client. But as you're seeing here, it's named here of the agent as yourself. In this case, it would be the name of your agency here, your email, whatever you signed up with. From there, the red X's you're seeing at the bottom, what that's telling me is that the agent did not complete the training videos that would be a requirement upon sign up. So the first step outside of any of these other steps that you're seeing that I would ask an agent to go to is to go to training right here in red. It does link you here. It does separate in-person from instant. If you are an in-person, you're going to be at the kitchen table sitting across from someone. There are a series of videos here. What I can tell you is the first 4 are required to not only watch, but I'll show you as an example. There is a video. Some have 2. These are very, this about Medicare Express. He's saying, can you see what I'm showing? Because he says he can't.
I cannot.
Well, it's not letting me change screens. So,
there it is.
It's just the internet too in here.
Yeah.
My apologies, guys. So what it jumps you to, this is just an example of the first video. The introduction is very straightforward. It's simple to give you a brief overview of what we do, more similar to what Gary just basically went over. Mm-hmm. And then there's a video again touching on Rob, one of the owners, and a little more of a deep dive just going over an example of our marketing ad is here. What I wanted to show you this specifically was each of these videos do have questions like this at the bottom. It is more of a quick comprehension level. You do have to answer these questions, and you do have to click submit quiz at the finalization at the end of each of these in order to receive credit for viewing the training video. What I can tell you is that red X that we were at, if I go back, would have been this. So this tab here, these red X's immediately within about 3 to 5 seconds turn green. As you have to watch the video, you have to answer the questions, and you have to click submit quiz. So once all 4 of those are green, your training is considered complete. What I can tell you is the calendar, the disposition, and messaging videos are vital. They go over a lot of what we may not cover in detail today. It really answers pretty much every question. It's a walkthrough with one of the operations directors here that goes over exactly how to connect your calendar right if you have any challenges, how to disposition and why. And for messaging, we're going to go over that a little bit, but it's going to go over that more in detail for you. This is, again, just a quick overview, but I expect, so in this case, Glenn that we're looking at, the zip codes that he signed up with, this is the agent level view. If you see anything that's out of whack, it's not what you need, anything like that, right now, agents cannot update their zip codes. It has to be a member of the support team. So I will show you where to get that contact information, but the easiest way outside of making a phone call is the word support at MedicareExpress.com. And that's for anything and everything. It's a shared inbox. Happy to help you guys. But this is as far as an agent level view. For stats, in this case, as you're seeing, this agent since the beginning of the year has had 70 meetings. He is missing some dispositions. So that would be something our team would discuss with him to try to determine why aren't all of your meetings dispositioned. I'll show you how easy that is. It's a one-click resolution. It's a very easy user interface. With converting at 50%, which I know he typically is higher than that. So it would lead me to believe that these missing dispositions are likely more sales that would actually drive, for his relationship with his FMO, potential for more money down the line. So the dispositions are critical for us, to help with many different things and to help with where to, to drive just for distribution even, and then obviously for sales and things like that. So that's something that I can address with the agent on the back end in this case, but this is a good example of at least showing you what you can see. As you see, it updates every 2 hours. From here, we also have a ledger. You see it? Did it change? Okay, cool. So in this case, it gives you the option to change a date range to go back. In this case, you can see his last 2 meetings were actually canceled. Cancel means we reviewed it. It wasn't of quality for one reason or another, which we offer for the in-home program. And we actually credited the meeting back to him on both of these cases. So this is a good example to show you. If I go back a little bit, it can give you more of both kinds. Okay, let's see. So if you see, he had quite a few meetings. This isn't a regular occurrence, but you can see any of these that don't say cancel, he was charged for. It's the red negative $100 for any meetings that were. Like I said, for one reason or another, the consumer may have canceled. We may have identified an internal training opportunity, which we're very, we've enhanced that and we're very big on that. But the communication has to come from the agent. If you feel like the meeting was set that needs to be reviewed, then that's something that you would want to email over to support or call the support team. But this is just giving you an example of his entire ledger of all of his meetings as far as exactly what that looked like. This performance button, this is just giving you a brief overview. It is viewable to all agents. It's just letting you know what the numbers are currently as expected. It's rest of year period or SEP period. The numbers are going to be slightly lower based on time of year, where obviously going into AEP, the numbers are much larger, much higher. Right now, I know last AEP, the numbers were more in the 55 to 60% range.
Yep.
This is just current to show you that 38 to 42. Now, part of that too falls on the agent. If they're not dispositioning the meetings,
Right,
it's very likely that that's higher. I mean, to give you an example, like I oversee the relationship with Humana as a carrier on a captive level. And because there's, a certain number, a large number of agents, what happens is if they don't disposition, then that's going to affect the overall number like this in this case. So dispositioning is crucial. What also is reviewed here just as an easier view, even though this is in the training in a few different places, is the definition of what we call from our business model a no-show. What it's viewing is obviously getting porched to some of the language most people seem to hear. We do bill for no-shows. What it's letting you know is right now, actually, the national average is more about 8.2%. Realistically, 1 out of every 10, somebody's not home in this, in this market, integrated DSNP, chronic condition, things like that. They can happen, but we try to do everything we can to prevent that. But just wanting you guys to know that that would be something that would trigger. If I was the agent, I would call into support or email and say, hey, I went by there, they weren't home, but an understanding it is billable, but we will still review it. We'll try to call them, and then we'll try to help you reschedule it. If they then cancel on the phone with us, then we're happy to credit that back, but only at that point. This is just, again, it's letting you know another definition of a consumer cancel, no reschedule, but I'm not going to deep dive into this because there is a video that goes over every single disposition. That's part of your training requirement. So it's not necessary to dig in there, but I did want to talk about no-shows because that question does come up a lot in the beginning. Right here for agent funds, if you select that button, in this case, this agent, as you're seeing, he is having meetings at the $100 cost. He is not paying for his meetings in this case. His marketer is paying for it, which is why it says marketing company yes. They are also paying the $100. He's not paying anything, to my point, and he has $2,400 or 24 meetings in his case sitting in his bucket. Now, I'm familiar with this agent, but as you're seeing at the top, he's self-paused, this pause by licensed agent. This would be alarming. If this is red in any way for either vertical, there's something wrong. And it will typically trigger and give you a brief messaging of what's going on. In his case, I know that he's not running meetings right now, so he made the selection to self-pause. Normally, obviously, especially when you guys are first starting out, you would want this to be green. And if you're not for any reason, if you weren't understanding what was causing that based on the messaging here, that's when you'd also reach out to support. So what I mentioned earlier, this at the bottom here, something not right, contact support. If you click that, it's going to link you to that email address that I mentioned. It's got Jen, Megan, and Christopher here. These are their desk lines. Your account manager will also could be potentially Chris or Megan, or it could be someone like Trevor or myself. If that's the case, that will give you another option of somebody to contact on a desk level. We just aren't in here, but we are happy to always help, and we are part of that support inbox as well. Heather, I would just, with an asterisk, Heather likes to be included here, but she is our VP of operations right now. So I would, with a hesitation, please only reach out to her if you think it's something urgent or you can't reach anybody on the support team. We would much rather you reach out to us. She does sit right across from me and she's happy to help. But as you'd imagine, being that high level, she's very busy. So she would not always be able to answer her phone. But she does like to be there in the case that, you guys can't reach anybody else. So just wanted to share that with you. This is another big question. I know when somebody logs in, definitely wanted to note from a computer, even if you are from your phone, this would need to be Google Chrome as your browser level access. You will incur challenges through Safari, other, Firefox, any type of other browsers, simply because this was created within Google Chrome. Now, what Chris is going to show you when he gets to his portion is for only instant meetings right now. We are going to integrate the two systems where you're only going to be using what Chris shows you, but right now this is still old version for in-person only. I know that's a little confusing. Obviously, we're in year 6. We're growing, we're expanding, we're making things better and enhancing. That way, I expect going into AEP that you'll be all in one house and you won't have to go to 2 separate entities if you're doing 2 different verticals. But as of today, that's what exists. So what you would need to do first is the word hide along the right-hand side. That'll at least move your contact information out of your way. What you're seeing now is an example of now the instant meetings that you're seeing. Again, that's the old version. Chris is going to show you, what has it been, 2 weeks, I think, 3 weeks roughly on the new platform. So I would say disregard that at this time, being that we're integrating old to new. In this case, your needs disposition, anything that's missing a physical disposition from the agent is going to live here. So as you're seeing here, he does have some. This is something, again, that we could talk to him about. It's not historically something he does. So as Gary can attest, he knows who this agent is. It's rare that he doesn't disposition. So that's another conversation separately from this call, but this I can use for an example. So what you're seeing is the consumer's data, address, phone number. Dispositioning, as I mentioned, one-click resolution, whether you've sold it, sold them referral, husband, wife, etc. Not sold, of course, we'd want you. It's going, if you were to click not sold, in this case, I'm not going to select it. It's going to promote a box for notes. It's going to require you to add a note. So this is where you would put why it wasn't sold. These will be meetings you can always go back to at any time. We don't resell our data either. So for any reason, if let's say today hypothetically you started receiving meetings and you realized they were on their best plan right now, but you developed a rapport and you established, hey, I'm going to get back to you on October the 1st. You disposition is not sold, but you could put your own notes in there on whatever plan they were on and whatever you decided to speak with them soon in October. And the scope is good for 1 year, and you can go back, and this lead will not go to this meeting will not go to anybody else. And I know that Gary briefed on it, but we go through a series of 2 different calls when we qualify, when they come in through the marketing funnel. And those calls average anywhere from 12 to 20 minutes in length. And there is a driver of intent in 2 different locations. So I will show you an example of some of the questions that asks that will be available to you as well. So all of your dispositions are here. You've got where you can call out to the consumer. You can email them unless you feel more comfortable. Now, what we were talking about messaging, this is a group messaging style. If I was to click this, what comes up here is any type of text message, either that Medicare Express has auto-generated or anything that you message. So in this case, you as the agent would see this, hi, sharing your Medicare benefits in-person meeting, etc. You're going to get a copy of that to your cell phone that you signed up with. So you can just as easily, as long as you respond in that thread, it's going to show up here. And it's also a copy comes to us and a copy would go to the consumer. This is where I say live in communicating with the consumer, either through the platform here or simply responding to that text thread from your phone, because it's the only way I can really advocate for you all if the consumer tries to cancel for any reason. So you can do it here through the portal, or you could do it responding to that text message. It does come from an 855 number. It is auto-generated, but that is what I would suggest when you're communicating with the client. So in this case, again, you see the automated message, the confirmation beyond setting the meeting does go to the agent in text message. It also goes on the agent's calendar, so you get it in 2 different locations. And then the text thread begins. From there, and again, there is a video going over all those different scenarios with messaging in the training. Just wanted to at least show you what it looks like. For quizzes are internal language. It basically is giving you the overview of everything the rep went over when they were qualifying the consumer. So in this case, you're seeing 65 and over. If they said
It
no,
didn't pop up. Try it again.
It's not
There it is.
tabs.
There it is.
Okay. So as you see, the first, this is for in-home only, but 65 and over, yes. If they said no, there would be a rebuttal, and the question you would see the rebuttal. Have you been on disability for at least 2 years or longer? Their zip code is here. Whether they have Medicaid, yes or no. If they're married, yes or no. Only for SEP time right now. This was a new change starting April 1st. Is your household income above $1,535? Yes or no. If it was no, it would go down the series of different rebuttals. That will be removed come October the 1st. That is only for this time period, that question. Chronic condition, obviously yes or no here. Advantage plan, have you ever had TRICARE, CHAMP VA, etc.? If they know their current carrier, they will put it here. If they don't know, it will say doesn't know. And we are instructed to move forward. We do ask about if they know the name of the plan or if they know their monthly premium. A lot of times they don't, but if they do, we're happy to include it here. We then ask them, do they have a current agent that they work with? As you see here, the consumer replied they don't have an agent. And then all of the different benefit levels that they talked about that they expressed interest in are here. And then this bolded question is one of the intent questions I mentioned. As you'll see, they did say yes. This is pivotal here. They have to say yes to this in order for it to move forward to the agent. You're getting cell phone and agent and address here. So this is giving you a consensus, a breakdown of everything that they discussed as far as the in-home meeting goes. Now going back to where we were here in the portal, as far as the scope goes, you can play it here. It gives you the option to download here, or you can also click the ellipses, the 3 dots, and click download, but this will go right to the computer. And as you're seeing, you can add notes here. Biggest note for you here is, as you're seeing, not seen by the customer. If you would like to note anything that you think we need to know or that you want to remember, it would live in the notes section here at the bottom. If you want anything that you know a consumer is going to see where you use tact and you're professional, you're actually texting them and using messaging there. That's the biggest takeaway between the two. What I can also say is, let's say you were looking for an old meeting. Now remember, only these that live here are ones that haven't been dispositioned yet. So you'd go to the next button over, search and filter. And then what you can do is you can select the date range and you can go back as far as you need to. It allows name, email, or phone number to search someone easily. If you needed to go back for, let's say, a scope, or maybe the disposition changes. This also is critical. This is where you'd have to go back to. So in this case, you're seeing a couple here that he had gone back and sold. They obviously weren't on Christmas. That's an IT issue from a long time ago. But let me move it back further here. Okay. So if we start going to some older meetings, he's got the consumer canceled, no reschedule, sold. So in a case of his sold here, it asks for a carrier. It asks if they're turning 65, if you know or not. And then it's asking if you completed a hospital indemnity or an HRA. It's only asking that for data for us, but I would encourage you to select those if you completed either one of those. Okay. Now the next button over is settings. As you're seeing, instant meetings and in person, it's a simple toggle over. It's a selection of this button to go red from green. In this case, because the agent wants to be paused, I'm not going to select it. But within 2 to 3 minutes, it flips over from red to green, and then it can take up to 15 minutes. But these would then, where they're red at the top, the messaging, the paused by would be removed, and they would turn to green. For your meeting duration here, what you're seeing are your options: 60, 90, 120, and 150. That means the distance between each of your meetings being set. Now, something to speak about here is our system currently does not recognize geographical distance. So the challenge is, let's say you're in a major metro, or you're even in a location where you run a larger geo and your footprint's a little bit larger. You would have to build in some level of travel time. Or what some agents will do is, let's say they think it'll only take maybe 90 minutes to complete a meeting with a client. They'll leave it at 120 to give them that extra 30 minutes of a buffer. But that's completely up to you and what you decide to do in that case. Going over to the calendar button, once your calendar is connected, it does view, in this case, what will happen that you're not seeing is in your first screen, back at the beginning here, there will be a button right above where your name and information is that says, please connect your calendar. It's a button in red, and you will select that button, and it will walk you through selecting either Google, Apple, or Microsoft as your calendar. It'll be your own unique login. It would be something we cannot see that we wouldn't know. It'd be your personal calendar, and you put your email and password in, and then you would select the option to allow us to view the calendar. What I can note on that too, from a privacy level, we cannot see your actual entries on your calendar. It will just view as busy. It will not have anything else for us unless it's a meeting we've already set. So no need to worry in that regard. What you can also do is click show schedule in this case. This would be okay, I want to double check to make sure all of the days I blocked off that I need PTO or have my own meetings, they're showing. Excuse me. In this case, he was, before he went self-paused, he was open 8 to 8, so this is free right now showing us that. But you would have entries of busy or things. Let's say you had a 12 o'clock today on your calendar, 12 to 1, then 12 to 1 wouldn't show up. It would show that you were available 8 to 12, and then it would show again 1 to 8 in this case. But that's where you can double check that. The next tab is your working hours. As you scroll, this starts out blank. It gives you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, etc. in a box form. You can click each day, and then it's going to allow you to select the times that you want to work from point A to point B. That is completely up to you. Obviously, the more that you expand this, the stronger opportunity you're going to get for meetings. We are dialing right now from 9:30 Eastern until 6 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. That will change and expand during AEP. Other than that, this is our basic overview. We expect questions as you guys come on. The training videos will answer a lot more of the in-depth, the disposition questions, any calendar navigation questions, but at least wanted to show you what this looks like and just be very brief on just noting blocking your calendar correctly is vital. It really is, because that's what we depend on to set these meetings. So the other takeaway I would suggest that this does go over this in the calendar video is that if you're going to have an all-day event, like I'm out all day, you cannot select all-day event. You manually have to select. If I'm available 8 to 5, I have to put 8 to 5 out of office or wherever I'm at. And you cannot select recurring event either, unfortunately. It's manual. So if you're out for a week, you have to do that for each day.
Thank you, Jen. Before we get into the instant meeting portion, are there any questions that have come up at this point that we can address? Probably on mute. Thank you, Jen. Before we get into that, I don't know if anybody heard me, but is there any questions that have come up that we can address right now before we get into the instant meeting portion? Okay.
I do not see any questions.
Perfect.
Very cool.
Thank you, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Good morning, guys.
So my statement is going to be a lot shorter than both Jen's and Gary's because it essentially is a recap of a lot of stuff that they went over. So let me go to share my screen.
We are echoing if maybe there's too many people unmuted.
Okay, so if you guys are seeing my screen, I have both the old portal and the new portal pulled up for this purpose. One is you must make sure that the old portal is active, as Jen went over for the pause feature for an agent. They have to make sure that they are enabled in the old portal under instant meetings to be able to use the new portal. Now, there's a couple ways you can get to the new portal. One is if you just scroll down to training and go to the opt-in detail. This will give you a hyperlink in the step-by-step setup here, and that will take you to the portal that I'm going to show you in the other screen. So here we have a lot of what Jen went over in the old portal, where you're able to see the consumer card, the quiz notes, the agent's information. Now, unfortunately, I won't be able to show you a pop-up because as of this meeting, they are doing a IT update. Let me go ahead and make it bigger. All right. There we go, guys. So they're doing a hot fix during this meeting, but there will be a way where you can connect to Amazon Connect, and we give you your user ID and your password directly in the home screen. But I will cover a couple things here. One thing I really like about this new portal is the download my meetings function at the very top. This is great for anybody who wants to add consumers to their drip campaign. We'll give you all the consumers' information in a CSV file, as you see, it is downloaded. From here, you'll also be able to view and edit your profile, your funds, see your stats, training, and territory. A lot of what Jen went over in the old portal. We will be moving to this in the future, so just be mindful of this. A couple frequently asked questions that I want to talk about here is this will all be done as a internal dialer. It will be sent to your smartphone or another voice over IP. Eventually in the future, version 2.0, we will allow that feature as bounce to, let's say, Ring Central or bounce to Five9 or, bounce to your own cell phone. But right now it is all a internal dialer. Now, if the hotfix was not present, I would show you the pop-up menu. The pop-up menu will have you toggle between a couple different features, such as available, paused, and offline. The question about if an agent is available or not available, it's really important for an agent to make sure that they are paused, or else we will still try to send them consumers. So if you're stepping away, or if you're running a different system, or you're just handling your own book of business, please make sure that you are toggled as paused in the system. So very straightforward when it comes to using the dialer. And then afterwards, there is a after contact work where you have to click it and just acknowledge that you have taken this call. And then last thing up here, you guys will see, Gary alluded to this, I believe, in the beginning of the call, how we have different verticals in the works, as well as final expense, wealth. So you'll see all that up in the top here. So exciting stuff to come in case any agents down the road have any questions about that.
All right. Is that good?
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Chris and Jen. Again, any questions that please put them in the chat box. A couple things that I wanted to kind of close on is we did touch, and I saw it in the invite, closing percentages. Just to give you an idea, last AEP touched on it. We came in at 55% closing percentages. During OAP, that dropped to around 50%. And right now, we are hovering in that. It says 30, 42%, but if you add in the missing dispos, we're probably closer to 45%. And so it does dip a little bit in this time of the year. I'm glad she did talk about no-shows as well, because it's important that you let us know that if somebody is a no-show, so we can help you reschedule that meeting. We rely on you and us to try to reschedule that meeting. So whoever reaches out to that person first and was able to reschedule that meeting, just let each other know so we can stop trying to communicate with that person to reschedule that meeting. Couple things too, right now, because it is SEP time, I would say 90% of our meetings are in the CSNP / DSNP, probably a little bit higher percentage, obviously higher percentage for CSNP. We still have about 20% of the dual population that we are able to market to, the fully integrated Heidi's and Fighties of the world. You're going to get an occasional T65 that'll drop in there, some movers, some folks coming off of group plans, and some other disaster SEPs. But for the most part, you're going to see a large percentage of CSNP, meetings that we're producing right now. We do a very, very good job of getting you the agent in the house, okay, through our qualification process and whatnot. Sometimes it's, you get out to the house and it's not an opportunity for Medicare, right? They're on the best plan for them right now. But as you all know, there's so many different changes that happen from year to year with carrier changes and pulling out of different markets and things of that nature. So, if you're not able to take care of the Medicare right now, you possibly be able to take care of their Medicare come this AEP. But in the meantime, while you're in the house, we have a lot of agents that are very successful asking questions, right? And uncovering other opportunities, dental, vision, final expense, hospital indemnity. We've had agents that have sold annuities on our appointments when they didn't even sell the Medicare Advantage. And so obviously you can't get into an annuity conversation when you're out there on a Medicare appointment, but you can ask questions. And by asking questions, before you leave the house, many times you uncover other opportunities for you. So again, I just like to tell agents that, because there is a lot of cross-selling going on. And when you're making that phone call to the consumer, and when you're and they do answer the phone, and you're having that conversation prior to the meeting, make sure you ask them to invite neighbors and friends and relatives. I mean, there's agents, the record is nine sales in one meeting. The gentleman out in California did that. And every time he talks to somebody, he tells them, invite your neighbors, invite your, relatives, invite friends over, because the more the merrier, that way there's a lot of questions. And so, just a little nugget of wisdom that I like to share. And then the other thing too, when Jen touched on it a little bit, we don't have the ability to see where you're at in our system, So I recommend, when you set up a territory, try to keep that territory within about 45 minutes of your home base, one-way drive, because, there is an occasional no-show, and I'd hate for you to drive an hour and a half and get a no-show, even though it's not my fault. You're going to be probably cussing us up and down on the way back. So try to engage with the consumer prior. Keep your territory, within a 45 minute home, of your home base. Work with your account managers, on a consistent basis to make sure you're optimizing your territory. And it's real simple for them to change, add a few zips, take a few zips away. So make sure we do that. And I guess finally, the cost of our meetings, our in-person meetings, had a price increase. We are at $120 for our in-home meetings. But I will say, on this call for today, any agent that wants to sign up for this program today, we will do a buy 10, get one free. And so you'll have to let us know that you attended the call. And we will, the account manager that gets assigned to you will make sure you get that free meeting when you do sign up. Our instant meeting platform is $39 per. Okay. And so even with our technology improvements, we're keeping that at $39 for the time being. And that would pretty much wrap things up, again, unless we have about, 7 to 10 minutes if we have any last minute questions.
Thank you so much. What a thorough job you guys did. I really appreciate you showing how everything works on your end. I think that was very insightful. Thank you. I don't see any more questions.
Looks like we don't have any questions coming in.
Nope. Nothing
Christy,
there.
are you good?
I'm good. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time.
No. All right. Well, thank you very much for all your time today. I appreciate it. And if you do have any questions, please get a hold of Christy. And if you're wanting to sign up, just please let us know, and we'll get you up and running as quickly as possible. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.